Hey everyone, today we're taking a look at the Berlin apartment from Blue Backpack. That's a really hard one for me to say. I don't know why. Now, the game centers around an apartment in Berlin, as the name obviously implies. And this apartment itself, over the years, its position is actually near where the Berlin Wall was. And the reason I mention that is because as you play the story, or rather stories, you start as the child whose father is basically renovating this apartment to get it ready for somebody to buy or rent. And so in the process, you're tasked with helping with tearing down wallpaper and things like that, and also just trying not to get in the way. And so as you go, you and are tearing through layers of wallpaper, you're discovering little pieces of the apartment's history. Like one is essentially a flyer with a map, and then as the father starts telling you the story about it, it would seem that he's making up most of it as he goes along, just telling his kid a fun story. And I haven't gotten far enough into the game to know if any of these stories are actually true in the universe, but they're definitely believable.
Everything's on the way.
And so
There's something behind the door.
as you go, you're basically learning the lives of people that have lived there before. The very first one takes place prior to the Berlin Wall falling, and so basically the guy who lives in the apartment at the time, he has a dialogue with his fish. The fish is quite hilarious, which is kind of funny to say because it's just his kind of imagination, and clearly he's lonely, and the fish basically is kind of against anybody that's on the other side of the wall. But everything kind of changes for him when the tenant, when a paper airplane flies through the window, and he basically sees a note and letting him know that, hey, notice one of your plants, looks like it could use some water, and basically introducing themselves. So he writes a reply and sends it back. And in doing so, building a relationship, friendship, or something else as you go. And
Look, Dad, all in one piece.
Basically, building on that story from there. And so the entire process, the fish is basically trying to talk him out of it. Now, the game itself does not have any real high action. It's just centered on telling these stories, and I think that the way you're kind of learning the stories about the people and the places, that the way it all comes together is very well done. It is a little slow at parts because you're having to interact with the world and kind of explore your surroundings in order to find the correct item to interact with, and in doing so,
there's something drawn on it.
It does take a bit longer to progress the story.
Hold still so I can read it.
It's from a pirate.
Visually, it's not the best looking game either, but it's also far from the worst. I mean, these days you've got a whole spectrum of quality when it comes to the visual graphics, and these, while they're not top of the line, AAA style, they are very fitting for the way the story is being told,
That says coffee.
and that's definitely not a complaint whatsoever. The
Used to live
it just works well together. Kind of gives a vintage look, which fits very well with these stories of the past. And I think that the overall storytelling is very well done. The voice actors, the characters are all great.
Bit more water on your roof.
My only complaint
Don't take it all at
is
once.
the pacing due to interacting with the world. But obviously, if you just keep it consistently going and don't do that exploration, there's probably things that you're going to miss, maybe dialogue options that you'd miss as well.
My hair.
And in doing so, it would progress the story more and a little bit faster. But, you miss out on the depth of the world around you. And I feel like that's kind of the point, is,
Have to be so
that there's so much
even gravity.
around you to explore, so much around you to do, that it's not all about completing the task at hand as quickly as possible. It's enjoying the full experience. Now, I could be completely pulling this out of my ass and reading way more into this than I should be. Personally, if I'm wrong, I don't care. Because I think that my interpretation of what they're saying with this gameplay is really a beautiful thing. And that it's a reminder that we need more often, because as a society, as people, the majority of us are just constantly go 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 go. I know myself, I'm one of those people, and so like part of me is just rearing, trying to progress the story as quickly as possible, while another part is trying to enjoy the experience, and those two sides conflict quite frequently. And so having a reminder like this that's wonderfully told at the same time, kind of forces you to step back and kind of examine it from the outside, and
What the?
give yourself that room to explore. And again, I think we as humans need more of
I
that.
have to do everything myself.
And so, I think that,
Get off your ass.
despite the pacing not being where I would want it to be, I think it's a great story. It's very well told, and
Don't make her
honestly is absolutely worth playing. Now, if you are somebody that only prefers playing, like run and gun games and Call of Duty type things, this is definitely not going to be for you. Those who are looking for a great story, you're going to enjoy this one.